how much can I afford to take out of my portfolio and never worry about running out of money?
Yep, it's a common topic. I mean, even whenever you go to like business websites and things like that, it's articles, what is the real number that you can use to live on?
All right, so interesting topic today because I feel like this hits a nerve. This is that question that we get so often from clients, and it's not even necessarily a client question. It's just an investor retiree question. How much can I afford to take out of my portfolio and never worry about running out of money?
Yep, it's a common topic. I mean, even whenever you go to like business websites and things like that, it's articles, what is the real number that you can use to live on, and trying to figure out the calculation. They've got calculators based on all this.
What's the standard in the industry? Now,
well, forever.
Hold on. Before you say anything, hold on. Now, for the industry, our clients are going to be like, when we ask this, a lot of our listeners out there are going to go, well, it's, and I don't want to say it, dividend related, whatever. But the standard, and this is where it gets a little biased because the internet is very interesting. If you have social media on your phone, it's like whatever you talk about starts showing up, but they're not listening.
That's right.
Right. Or what you search for, that's all you see. So our clients and a lot of investors that are watching the show, they're like searching dividends, they're looking at things and they're like, oh, dividends are everywhere. This is all everybody does. Well, no, that's the power of the pixel. There's this thing called a pixel. And when you search, it tracks you and then it puts that content in front of you because it already knows that you're curious and that's what you want to learn about because they ultimately want to sell you something. So the standard is what?
4%. And that's what.
But it's a what?
Oh, it's sell 4% of your.
It's a withdrawal.
Withdrawal rate. Yep.
So we're going to
keep it around 4%. You should be good.
So what are some good, I'm not a boxing fan, but what are some good boxing matches, like legendary ones in the past? Like two big heavyweights.
Oh, good grief.
Like Muhammad Ali and
way back, Joe Frazier.
And Joe
Ali and Frazier.
So we got two heavyweights.
The Rumble in the Jungle?
Yes. Yeah. We got two heavyweights going at each other, and one is going to be a withdrawal.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds weird. It's like I'm just going to go hide in my room. That's not the type of withdrawal we're talking about here. Like income withdrawal, and the other one is just a withdrawal from your assets. The other one is going to be income creation to spend. So one, we're creating income to live off of. The other one, there's growth, but we're going to convert that growth, hope, into a sale so you can live off of. And a lot of listeners out there are going to go, well, duh, why wouldn't you do the income? Well, that's not even the standard. It's not even close to the standard.
No.
I'd say statistically, it's probably less than 3% of the industry has this type of mentality. Our clients are like, no. What'd you do before us?
Yep.
You lived off of withdrawals or you worked. You earned income.
Yep.
Most retirees, most investors out there live off of a withdrawal income, and that's why they're so stressed out.
Yep.
That's why
you might have like a percentage that's just cash, right?
Yep.
And then the rest of it's going to be in growth, some type of fund there to where hopefully you can replenish that cash bucket before it gets to zero.
And I can tell you, if the industry ran off of dividend income, we wouldn't have the turnover that we have. Like advisors and clients alike, advisors are getting fired all the time. And if the industry ran off of earned income, created passive income that filled our bank accounts for payment for retirement, turnover would be very little. Then it's just relational.
Right.
Because if the relationships or if the strategies were very similar and the industry ran like this, advisors just like, I just don't like him. I'm going to go to her, but it's the same strategy. If you go look and you interviewed like 10 different advisors, I'm not even sure you would hear dividend income.
No, you'll get 10 different plans, and most of them are going to be some of that growth, and then we'll pull some safe money over here.
You get a lot of annuities and life strategies mixed with third-party aggressive bond strategy, whatever, straddles, CD.
That's our growth bucket.
I mean, we got audited. Like we've been audited a lot by the state and by the government because we manage money and they look over your shoulder all the time. And the very first time we ever got audited, I don't want to say her name.
Yeah, don't.
But I'm not going to say her name. But she has a very Italian, like, gangster name. And if you're watching, I know who you are. And very intimidating, super sweet, but with a very loud name that you're like, you bet she'll kill me. You know, not doing anything wrong. And yeah, with a name like that. And we're going through, she asked us tons of questions in the beginning before she starts the actual audit. She's like asking us questions and she's going to verify. So she's like, okay. And she has her, and it's me and Charlie are at the table, and she's got her pen and she's sitting there and she goes, okay, how many mutual funds do you sell? What percentage do you sell? He's like 0. Oh, okay. Well, then how many bonds do you sell? None. And she goes, okay. Then how much ETFs are you selling? And we're like, none. And she goes, what? There's nothing else. What are you selling? And I'm like, it's the what? And actually, Charlie, you know how he can have that fun personality. Yes. Sometimes that comes out the wrong time. This was one of those times. And he goes, well, the one thing you didn't ask. And I'm like, bro, did you look at her last name? Yeah. She knows people.
And she's an auditor.
And he goes, stocks. We offer stocks. We build managed portfolios, dividend stock portfolios for our clients. That's the mainstay of what we do. And she goes, we don't have, and she literally turned the thing around. She goes, we don't even have a line for that. And I'm thinking, you audit the entire state, because this was a state audit, and you're not even asking how many stocks you buy? That's how uncommon what we do here is.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even a part of their audit trail, because very few advisors offer what we do and actually buy direct positions inside client accounts. So when we're having this debate, long-winded beginning to the show,
it's all good.
When we have this debate, it's not the norm. The norm is withdrawal. You have a bunch of mutual funds, ETFs, market sector funds, whatever it is, and you hope for growth. You literally hope for growth, and you live off of your withdrawal, whatever percentage you feel comfortable. And when the market goes down, you spend less. And when the market goes up, you spend more. There's a direct relationship. You imagine living in an environment where the market dictates your habits and your happiness.
No,
that would be horrible.
That would be very.
And yet, this is the debate we're having. Yep. And we've already crushed the debate. We haven't even started talking about it. And we've just literally there's no debate. Yeah, there is no debate. But the industry says there is. Okay. So let's give some examples.
Yep.
Okay.
Real quick though. So, if you want to learn about investing through the lens of income, not hype, and if you want to learn about being audited, you can subscribe. No, just kidding. You can subscribe.
Not the second part.
Just kidding. No.
If you want to know how to get through an audit with just, we were so great. I mean, there was no issues, but yeah, subscribe to the show. Thanks. I always forget. I'm terrible at that. Okay. So let's talk about the typical, retirement income. And this is a question I feel like we get all the time. I'll sit down with a client or potential client, referral, whatever, and they'll sit in my office and we'll build the first part of their simplicity, our planning tool. And we'll get to we're looking at their tree and above and below, and we'll look at all their assets, and it's, X amount of assets. And then you always get that typical question. So how do we compare to everybody else? And I'm thinking to myself, who cares?
Yeah.
It comes up all the time. I get where the question comes from, but I don't get where the question comes from, because it's more of I would want to ask, can we afford to live?
Right.
Like, can I retire?
Right.
Can I do the things I want to do? Like, who cares about the Joneses? But it does come up.
They just want to know, have I done, it's almost like this, have I done enough?
Validation.
Yeah. Yep. Because they're nervous most of the time when they come in. So they're like, we have these hopes of how we want this to look, and I hope we've grown our money to where we can afford what we want to.
But why do we look outward? Why don't we look inward? It is interesting. And I do the same thing, but I feel like our knee-jerk reaction is how does everybody look compared to me? Instead of okay, here's what I want. I feel like half
Yeah.
the time they don't know what they want. They
Right.
kind of do, but they really don't. And it's more of a, well, if everybody's the same, then what can they afford? It's
Yeah.
almost like you're asking, if I look the same, what are they living on?
Yeah.
Rather than what I want.
And maybe it's because so many of our clients who come in, or even prospects, are coming kind of based on referral. So it's almost this like, do I look close to who sent me here?
That's interesting.
Because I know they're living a life that they seem very calm. Do I seem like I'm close to them? Can I have that same mindset and not be so scared?
Yeah.
I also feel like it's that avoidance of introspection. You know, like they don't want to look in and be like, oh, this is real.
Yeah.
Okay, I do need to have a plan.
Yeah.
You know, instead it's like, well, if, you know, John and Sarah down the street are doing it, I'm sure I'm fine. Right? Instead of really analyzing what's really going
Sometimes
on.
the mirror hurts.
Well, I feel like this is a scary topic because this is the time where we get lots of feedback. You know, we're like, you don't understand, you're not in retirement. And yes, that is absolutely correct. That'd be the same as if when I get in my C12 group and I'm sitting at a table with, 12 other business owners and in all kinds of different industries, and like going, how much revenue do you make?
Mm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't ask that question because revenue is an interesting indicator, because it's not what you make top line, it's what you get to keep bottom line.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's the same question here. It's not how much assets do you have, it's how much income can you live off.
How much is it generating?
What's going in your
even
bank
more than
account?
what you're living on? It's like, how much can you generate from it?
And I guess that's the type of, I wish there was more information out there for when people are researching, like the type of questions to ask. But even when you're like, okay, I'm getting ready to hire an advisor, what should I ask? It's all like fee. Like, it's important stuff. Don't get me wrong. It's very important, but it's not what makes you happy. Paying less or understanding the licenses, or letters are behind somebody's name doesn't really mean anything.
No.
They're more educated. I know a lot of really stupid, smart people. Like you ever
know a lot of smart people who don't have those letters because they've been focused on serving their clients instead of spending 3-5 years trying to get a couple extra letters.
And you ever seen, like, one of my very first real jobs was working at a gas station, and we were by a hospital. And I remember watching, these nice cars come in, and the guys in the scrubs would get out. I don't know if they were nurses or doctors or whatever. And half the time they're like trying to figure out how to pump their gas. And I'm some high school kid. Like,
let me get that.
Yeah. I'm like, bro, are you serious? You clearly are educated. And, this thing goes in here, like it's pretty simple. But, that sometimes you want that person that's so smart in their field that they focus so much of the time. So I'm not making fun of this. But the reality is, like, just because somebody's smart in one thing doesn't necessarily mean they're smart in all things. This is a tough topic to dig into. Because at the end of the day, you might want to live on X, say $100,000 a year, $80,000 a year, 150, whatever the number is. You have so much of Social Security. You'd have maybe some rental income, maybe not. A lot of people out there, it's just Social Security, no other forms of income. It's like, okay, I have this asset base, and you have two scenarios. You just withdraw a percentage of it, and just
selling something and hope it works.
It works out, or you generate income.
Yep.
And you live off of that. Or I guess you could do a combination of the both and live off of the income and then sell some of the growth.
Or you go give away some of your assets to get guaranteed income.
That's right.
Which it's like, oh, okay, we're just going to let those kind of disappear.
It's just, any way you look at it, it's a tough conversation. It's a balancing act. There's so many risks involved when you start withdrawing.
Yeah.
Because it's like your money tree. It produces fruit that you can live off of, or income that you can live off of. But when you start lopping off branches, at some point, it just doesn't produce the fruit that you were that it once did. And that's the withdrawal. Anytime there's withdrawals, whether it's a total withdrawal strategy or a partial withdrawal strategy, there's danger.
Yeah, because you're reducing the amount of income that's being able to be generated.
And you're hoping
even in a growth scenario,
Yeah.
which is what you've got to also learn. Like, whenever your account balance can grow, it can, really expand. We've seen some of that already this year. But if you start selling shares capturing some of that growth. Like, hey, my account's grown by 50,000. Can I take 20 out? You can, but you've also reduced the number of shares that you own, which is what you get paid on in a dividend scenario. So you've just got to be careful that you don't get too excited about seeing that account balance.
And we,
really
I mean,
exploding.
this year has been a great year,
Yeah.
like from a growth standpoint. And I think sometimes our clients, you know, and I don't want this to come across the way it's going to sound, but I think sometimes it's like, well, I'm up 200,000, I'm
Yeah.
up 400,000, I'm up $1 million. You know, let me just spend 100.
Yeah.
You know, what's the big deal? Well, that 100 has a cost.
Right.
And it's whatever the amount of shares that are connected to it, that's that much income less forever.
Mhm.
Like this is a forever decision, because when you sell a share that's generating cash flow, you don't get it back.
That's right.
Unless you're not spending
Right.
a portion of
scenario where you're reinvesting.
then that's a totally different
conversation.
scenario.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and that, I guess from an advisor standpoint, we're looking, not that clients aren't, but we're just we're looking over the long haul, the long term, and going, okay, is this spending habit, is this, and clients are too. I don't want to make it sound like we're
Correct.
the only ones looking at it, but I guess from our perspective, we're unemotional, detached, completely logical, and the client is very attached. You know, they're connected in every regard, as they should,
And they have emotion.
and there's a lot of
without a
emotion in
doubt.
there, and that's why it's such a good dynamic.
Yep.
Because you can have really good, healthy conversations around it. The point of matter is, we're 100% against the withdrawal strategy. You know, it's dangerous. It's emotional. It forces, I think, clients into bad situations. You know, really the debate here is income generation versus a luck, timing. I mean, there's so many things can affect a withdrawal center. It's so dangerous.
Yeah.
Why?
And that's where it makes me nervous too, whenever you have clients that are like, well, I don't really have anybody to leave this to, or I want to use it all.
Yeah.
So let's just go have fun now. And I'm like, but do you know when you're going to
Die?
pass?
Yeah.
That's right.
Like, I don't. Like, so we don't know if that's 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years. So if you just start going and having a blast and spin through it all, like, then what happens? So
And
you
we've
gotta be
had we've had
careful.
clients that
Yeah.
like just wanted to enjoy a period of time, and then they back themselves into a corner, and we're like, now what? You got another 25 years to go, and you just spent 70% of your assets.
Yeah.
Like, oh, hope you enjoyed yourself?
Yeah. Those are the least fun conversations.
Yeah.
of this
And you
whole-
can't stop them.
No.
It's not my money.
And that's where,
It's
like,
their money.
you have to, you know, in those moments, you're like, hey, you know, it's your money. You can do what you want, but it's my job to help you see really the consequences. There are good consequences and bad consequences to your decisions. And there we
So
go.
to wrap up this, you know, this discussion, I feel like we zigzagged all the way around it, you know, but the realities are, like, this is super important. This is super sensitive. Like, update your simplicity plan. Like, look at your total income being generated.
Yeah.
You know, if you're going to withdraw, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Have an open discussion.
I think it's a proper framing of the question. It's not how much can I live on? Like, it's, hey, given my number of assets or what I've saved, what will that generate for me? What type of income can that generate without me having to sell? I think that's where we've got to kind of beat the drum a little bit and reframe the question. Because it's not so much, you know, if I can sell off 4%, will I be okay? It's like, no, if I take all of this, if I take $1 million, what can that produce for me?
And I guess, you know, where the benefit of never being retired, but seeing, you know, hundreds of thousands of people retire, you see every decade, you know, and there's certain clients, you know, that retire in their 50s. Some want to retire in their 40s, right? And you have clients that retire in their 80s. And you see all of it, and then you see the progression of how they spend. You see inflation. You see health concerns pop in and the expenses that go along with it. You see long-term care situations or assisted living situations. And you're just like, and you understand the expense that goes along with that. So where a client or an investor might be pigeonholed of today, we're not.
Yeah.
You know, even though we've never retired, we're way away from that. But the realities are, that's what we do. That's what you
We've
see.
walked with hundreds of people through
Yeah.
that scenario.
And that's, I guess, when we give advice, that's where I feel like this becomes very robust of a conversation, and again, the heartbeat of the show is income generation versus withdrawal.
Mm-hmm.
Like one is producing real paycheck. The other one is producing a hope for growth that you can live off
Sales
of.
strategy.
Yeah. But every time you do, and we're assuming, when we're having this conversation, that it's in dividend. But 95%, 98% of investors just own mutual funds.
Mm-hmm.
So literally all they have is to sell because it doesn't generate any income.
That's right.
So that's just a tough place to be.
It
All
is.
right, let's land this plane. Any last words? Before
I
we
kind of
shut
said
the-
mine. I was like, man, reframe the question. I think at the end of the day, if you don't have a simplicity plan or don't know what your assets can generate, please call us, call somebody, and go sit down with them and figure that out. And I think, to your last points that you were saying, we may not have personally walked through the full span of life, but we have walked alongside people who have and who have gone through retirement, and have passed and gone through all those different things. And that's where, kind of the value add, like the advisor role can help kind of walk with you through it. So.
Absolutely. And, like I said, we take the emotion out of it, which I think is a huge part of all this process. And lastly, I would just say, if you're interested, if you like what you saw, subscribe below. You can grab a Dividend starter kit, and we're happy to help in any way we can.
Amazing. Hope you enjoyed the show.